defund the police movement. At its core, the plan seeks to redefine our great nation as a mere tool of oppression, one that rightfully succumbs to, abolish culture, and in the words of Biden, needs, revolutionary institutional changes. It's not only capitalism that's at stake, it's also our Constitution. For as long as I can remember, I was taught the guiding principle of the First Amendment to the U.S. Constitution was based on the concept of allowing for the free expression and exchange of ideas. While I might not like or agree with what someone said, I would fight for their right to express it no matter how much I may disagree with it. Unfortunately, this understanding is fading quickly. More and more, our society has delved into a mob mentality that believes if you don't share the prevailing leftist view, then you need to be canceled and pushed out to the margins of society. In July 2020, 153 prominent writers, artists, and thought leaders signed their names to an opinion piece in Harper's Magazine titled, A Letter on Justice and Open Debate. They wrote that the free exchange of information and ideas, the lifeblood of a liberal society, is daily becoming more constricted. They further noted that an intolerance of opposing views, a vogue for public shaming and ostracism, and the tendency to dissolve complex policy issues in a blinding moral certainty was becoming an increasing problem in society. The piece ran in the wake of racial unrest stemming from the killing of George Floyd by a Minneapolis police officer, and noted, "We refuse any false choice between justice and freedom, which cannot exist without each other. As writers, we need a culture that leaves us room for experimentation, risk-taking, and even mistakes." It wasn't long before backlash and even some retractions from some of the signers ensued. Something that appeared to be uncontroversial and unifying resulted in liberals having to apologize for briefly making so much sense. Welcome to the current state of American society, one in which all politics is personal and all persons are forced to be political. As White House press secretary, I said Democrats are using every tool at their disposal to get in the way of President Trump's attempt at making America great again. At the time, I was talking about the obstruction and boycotts of hearings for President Trump's cabinet members and judicial appointments. But since then, I have seen it not only in the obstruction to the entire Trump agenda, but also within every aspect of life and in every sector of society. I've started to realize just how pervasive and cynical their efforts are. If you're not actively looking for them, much can be easily missed. In fact, there are so many things that we see in our day-to-day lives that we don't realize. When you send your kids off to school, you're probably not wondering whether the teachers are instilling in them values that run contrary to your own. I can guarantee you're not wondering if the lesson plan include the act of stomping on the American flag, or if the teachers are instructed to explicitly reject and resist your role as a parent. Those ideas certainly never crossed my mind. Likewise, your college student could probably graduate with honors and go on to earn a PhD without realizing how indoctrinated they are. It happens all the time. And quite frankly, it explains why we're seeing so many of today's thought leaders and academic elites lead the liberal agenda at the local level and on the national stage. You could binge watch an entire Netflix series without noticing the underlying political agenda that it's planting into your subconscious. For many folks, tuning into a late night show or going to see a movie is a way to unwind. But if you pay close attention, you'll see that Hollywood is one of the left's most effective tools when it comes to seeding a political narrative or influencing culture. You could spend hours browsing social media without knowing that your newsfeed is carefully crafted to present you with the information that Silicon Valley leftists want you to see. You could spend thousands of dollars at your favorite retail chain, never knowing that your money might be funding a political cause that diametrically opposes your values. We didn't get here overnight. Each of these institutions in society has been subtly pushing an agenda for decades. For the left, it's all politics all the time. Our country has become so divided that everything now devolves into politics and pits regular Americans against one another.